Hey everybody, welcome to another Science Sunday. This week we're reading out of John chapter 20, and this is about when after Jesus died and he was resurrected, all the disciples were kind of distraught and they just lost their friend and their Lord. And so they're all hiding out kind of, and they don't know what to do. And Jesus appears to them and he says, I'm back, and surprise. And this is where the story picks up. Here in verse 24, it says, Thomas was not with the followers when Jesus came. Thomas was one of the 12. The other followers told Thomas, "We saw the Lord." But Thomas said, "I will not believe it until I see the nail marks in his hands, and I will not believe until I put my finger where the nails were and put my hand into his side." A week later, the followers were in the house again. Thomas was with them. The doors were locked, but Jesus came in and stood among them. He said, "Peace be with you." Then he said to Thomas, "Put your finger here. Look at my hands. Put your hand here on my side. Stop doubting and believe." Thomas said to him, "My Lord and my God." Then Jesus told him, "You believe because you see me. Those who believe without seeing me will be truly happy." Jesus did many other miracles before his followers that were not written in this book, but these are written so that you can believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God. Then, by believing, you can have life through his name. So this is the very end of the book of John, and it's basically wrapping it up saying, with the story about Thomas and how Thomas, after seeing all the things that Jesus did, he still doubted. Jesus came back and he still didn't believe that Jesus was resurrected until he actually, saw him in front of him and he touched his wounds, and then he acknowledged. He said, "You are God. You are my Lord," and he acknowledged that Jesus was able to be resurrected. And the story finishes up with Jesus saying, "You believe because you saw all these things. I had to convince you with all of these miracles and finally looking at my wounds after I was resurrected. But there's going to be a lot of people who are not going to get to see me, and that's us today. We didn't get to see Jesus in the flesh, and we don't get to see the miracles that he performed, but we still believe." And people sometimes ask, why is that? Why do you believe when you don't see God? When you don't see his actual physical manifestation? And that's pretty simple. It's not a big leap to say that we have faith in God and we have faith in Jesus and we have faith in our Christian walk, because you don't have to see things to know that they're there. We know that the wind is there because we can feel it. We see the effects of it. We're going to see today in our science lesson how even scientists and mathematicians throughout history have put their faith in things that they haven't seen themselves. And we're gonna get into that and show that it's not a stretch to believe in something that you haven't seen before.
Okay, so we're going to model how far away all of the planets are from each other. So we've got our sun here. So the first thing we need is Mercury, which is going to be 1 foot away from the sun. So let's get the tiny, tiny bead and let's put it 1 foot away. And then well, no, Micah, it's okay. It doesn't need to be exact. So you'll see why it doesn't need to be exact in a minute. So 1 foot away, and then Venus is going to be 2 feet away from the sun. And what we're doing here is we're showing how far away they are in a scaled model. So 2 feet away, a little closer than that. Yeah, that's good. That's probably good. Okay, Earth, which is the blue small one. Yep, that's going to be 3 feet away. So yeah, that's good. That's fine. Mars is going to be 5 feet away. So just a couple more feet past Earth. And Mars was another tiny, tiny bead. Okay. Now we're going to have Jupiter.
Jupiter is 2 feet away.
Like 2 feet away from Earth. A little further. Okay, that's good. That's perfect. Okay, now Jupiter is going to be 18 feet away from the sun. So this is called one of the outer planets. So you're going to measure. Noelle, grab one side of that. Micah.
From the sun.
From the sun.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So Noelle's going to hold that. Okay, go. 18 feet.
Oh, Jupiter's far from us.
Jupiter is very far. That's why it's called an outer planet. So these are called the inner planets. Okay, put Jupiter right there. And
Wow.
we might need, Corey, can you hold on to Jupiter? All right, Saturn. All right, next one, Micah. No, don't do that. Saturn is 33 feet away. No, you gotta keep going.
7.
Gotta keep going. Gotta keep going.
33.
33 feet.
Right here.
Okay. So there's 33 feet away. Cora is at Jupiter right now. She's visiting. Noelle's at the sun. All right, so that's how far away.
Not over here.
See how fast they are, far they are? All right, the next one, Uranus, is 67 feet. 67 feet.
We need someone to hold this.
So Micah is at Uranus right now, which is 67 feet in our model away from the sun. So you can see where Noelle is, and right there you can see Saturn, and then Jupiter's over there. Look how far away she is. So this is how far away Uranus is. Yep. And,
Wait, take the bucket. It's steaming.
we actually are going to use, so the size of this one is, no, that's right, you're good. And then we're going to do one more of those ping pong balls. All right, so this is the last planet. This was 67. The next one is going to be 106 feet. All right.
All right.
Well, Micah, careful. Be careful you don't break it. Okay, go slow.
This
Go
only goes
slow.
to 100.
It only goes to 100, so you got to go 100, and then we got to go 6 more feet. Okay, so you're at 89.
What if we all like line up against it, and then we see how tall all of us are?
You can go a little quicker.
But laying down, that'd be fun. But like side by side. That'd be a big tower. So laying down would be better.
So we're all done now. So what we have here, we are 139 feet away from the sun in our model. This one right here is Pluto. And the sun is way over there. And we're gonna travel into the solar system. So everybody stand up and we're gonna walk into the solar system. So we're gonna start it here at Pluto and we're gonna walk in. And let's go. We're gonna go over to Neptune. Here's Neptune. It's our little ping pong ball.
So little.
And this is 106 feet away from the sun in our model. And then you keep going in. And Uranus is right here. This one's 67 feet away. And you keep going in. And then you have Saturn, which is, when you look at how far away the other planets are, this is relatively close.
Yeah.
And then you have Jupiter, the largest planet.
Well, wait, the sun technically isn't a planet, it's a star. So that is.
All right, so then you have, after you have the giant giant planets, then you have this, which is Mars. That's the size of Mars right there. And then you have Earth. Look how tiny Earth is compared to
The sun.
over there.
The sun. We gotta move our
And then you have Venus, and you have Mercury,
Big
and then you have the sun.
Big
There you go. And you look out from the sun, and you got all those planets way out there, and that's how big space is. Space is so massive. So imagine that we're, super far away from the sun. Okay, we're way over there. And this is, so you have all those planets on the inside. Remember how you had Earth, and you had like Mars here, and Mercury and Venus were here, and the sun was here, and they're all relatively close to each other, right? Well, for a long time, people on Earth would be able to see these planets. You can see all of these because
Like
they're
without
pretty. Well, with like a telescope or even just in the sky, you can see them. You can see how they move across the sky.
You can see the moon.
You can see the moon. And the big planets like Jupiter and Saturn are out here. They're further away, but they're really big, so you can see those too, right? Now, what about those planets on the outside, like Pluto
We
and
cannot see
Neptune,
Pluto.
or
We can see with
Uranus and Neptune? They're well, they're really far away, right?
You need a really, 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 really.
You need a really big telescope,
big telescope.
and you need to know how big is the sky. It's so big. Where do you point your telescope to be able to find them?
You ask like there's a satellite. Like,
So here's the trick. Okay, so you have Earth, and super far away you have Jupiter, and then super far away from that, Uranus. Okay? Hold on. So you have Uranus is way out here, and people, long time ago, very long time ago, were able to find this planet. They found it with a telescope. They said, "Hey, look at that! Whoa, it's moving like a planet. That must be a new planet." And you had mathematicians who were able to say, "Oh, we can actually look at how it moves in the sky, and we can tell how it moves around the sun. So we can tell you how big it is. We can tell you how fast it's moving. We can tell you where it is in the solar system."
is Uranus just like a water planet or what kind of planet?
Uranus, I'm not sure. I know that Neptune is a gas planet, just like Jupiter.
Has
But I don't know about
anybody
Uranus.
Seen it like flown by Uranus?
They have, and I'm going to talk about that. But so we're actually going to talk about a long time ago first. So way back, before there were cars, before there was electricity, before any of that stuff, they knew about Uranus. Super far away. Remember, it was like, what was it, 100? No, it was 67 feet away. And do you remember where Neptune was? 106. So it's almost twice as far away as Uranus, right? It's way out here. No one had ever found it before. No one knew about it. And what happened, here's the story, is way back then, okay, this is in the 1800s, mathematicians were looking at Uranus and they're seeing it come across the sun, going around in a circle, in an elliptical. And what they noticed was that every time it got around here, it would do this. Instead of just going like this around the sun, it would go like this. It would like make a little bump. And so it wouldn't go straight across like that, it would kind of go like that. It's called a perturbation. And they would say, "What is going on?" And they knew that the other planets did it too. So like when you had another planet go past so they knew that when Uranus went past and it lined up with Jupiter, it would go like this. Why do you think it would do that? The gravity. Jupiter would pull it in a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And so they knew that another planet was pulling this planet towards itself, and so it made that little bump. Now, when Jupiter wasn't there, Uranus was doing that. But they didn't know about Neptune yet. Nobody had ever seen Neptune. So what do you think the mathematicians said?
There must be a planet.
There must be another planet out there. We have never seen it, but we know that Neptune is Uranus is being affected by it. So they went to their chalkboard and they did their math and they said, okay, if we know that this is how Uranus moves and this is what happens at this point in time, we can tell you where this planet is that we've never seen before. And so two guys found this. One guy was an English person, or from England, one person was from France. And the English person, wrote a paper and said, "Hey, there's a new planet out there." And he sent it to an observatory, and the observatory looked at it and said, "No, there's not. You're crazy." And so they just ignored it. But the French guy sent his paper to an observatory in Berlin, Germany. And the Germans looked at it and they said, "Really? Okay." So they cranked their telescope and they point it where the mathematician said the planet would be, and he looks in the telescope huh, there's a new planet. And so they discovered this new planet where nobody knew it was because someone said, hey, I believe that it's out there because of the way that I see what's happening to this other planet that we do know about. So they're able to take the evidence that they saw and say, even though we've never seen this planet before, this one is Neptune. So this happened in 1839, I think. So way, way back. And they said, even though we can't see it, we can see the evidence of it, and we know that it's there. Okay, so here's where this comes in. So in 1989, I think, they sent a satellite out. They just shot it out of Earth's orbit, out with a trajectory to leave the solar system. It's called Voyager. Okay?
Oh yeah.
It's
Did
still
Aunt
out there,
Lois
right?
help with
Discovering
that?
more
Not that
galaxies?
one. So what it did was it flew past all the planets that are
It's the
further
first
out
one
than
there.
Earth. So it went past Mars, it went past Jupiter and Saturn, and it went past Uranus, and it went past Neptune, it went past Pluto, and then it left the solar system.
What?
Here's the crazy thing about the distances. So remember, here's Earth, okay, and here's Neptune. It took 12 years for that satellite to go from Earth to Neptune. And then when it took pictures and it sent those pictures back, Lukey, can I use that? And so when it took pictures, it went around Neptune and it took pictures, first pictures ever taken, and it sent them back in a radio wave. It took almost a year for that radio signal, which is traveling the speed of light. So imagine you're on Neptune and you turn on a flashlight. It took almost a year for that to get back to the Earth.
That's like 2 years.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
And so it took pictures and then it kept going. It went and went and went, and now it's way out there. And it just keeps going.
Still not back?
It'll never come back. It'll go into space forever.
All right, thanks guys for joining us for another Science Sunday. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about the solar system and about how mathematicians discovered Neptune. And remember, the point of this whole thing is to talk about how, scientists like to say we have to see things to believe it, but really that's not true. We take so many things on faith as scientists that, we believe that something exists or something works the way it is because we see the evidence of it. We see, we believe in the way the world works and the way that things should happen. And so we make these statements that we say, hey, we think that there's a planet out there because we see the evidence of it. We don't necessarily see it directly, but we believe that it exists. And the Christian faith is exactly the same way. We believe that God is real and that his son Jesus came to save us from our sins because we see the evidence of God working in this world, in our lives and in the lives of the people around us. So just remember that. And thanks again, guys, and I'll see you all next week.